is it? Game time. What time is it? Game time. What time is it? Game time. Going beast mode when the game began. I worked all summer to be a champion. At Venice High School, all we do is win. Man, it feel good to be an Indian.
And welcome to this week's edition of the John Peacock Coaches Show. I'm John Masoni here with Venice Indian head football coach John Peacock. And, Coach, I don't know if it's disappointing, frustrating, a myriad of different things, but try to get down to play Miami Northwestern last Friday evening. And like it can do sometimes, the weather did not cooperate in a situation where we had a window to get the game in and had to – I guess we're calling it postponed at this point, or are we calling it canceled altogether at this point?
Well, it's kind of up in the air, to be honest. We both have Week 11 open, so it is a possibility that we play Week 11, but it kind of has to make sense
right.
for one of us to play. And I think it's, it all depends on, I think, like the playoff picture. And, I know neither of us want to be playing a game of that magnitude that late in the season and right before the playoffs start.
It's going to be a physical game, or like
right.
what we thought it would be on Friday night. So yes, it would be. You're not getting that potential rest period to go into your thing. But again, I did think it was a very sportsmanship-like way of sort of figuring, hey, if you need it, we need it. We'll figure it out if we have to, and go from there. Some folks were asking. I said, we'll look in the weather and it looked like this and that. Look.
Well, the problem is every time the lightning strikes, it's 30 minutes minimum, and really, when it all being said and done, every time the lightning strikes, it really is an hour before you can kick off because you got to warm up, and you got to get everybody out there, you got to stretch, and then then it's an hour, every time you get cleared. We actually got out there and started stretching, and we were stretched for about 2 minutes, and we got another strike. So at when the lightning struck again at like 8:15.
The last one, you mean?
Yeah. So that was like right in the stadium.
And the last one was right there. It was everybody jumped on that one. So
and then from there 8:15, kickoff's at 9:15, and that means you're not out of there until close to 1 a.m. and then that also means you're not home until 4 a.m.
Right.
And then you got to worry about us being in charge of those young men that are getting off a bus at 4 a.m. and then driving home, and then potentially getting in an accident.
And there's no guarantees that an hour into the game another lightning strike could happen. And it was just a real mushy night.
They had a rule, they had a rule in their stadium, and it was if kickoff doesn't happen at 9, then it's over.
Right.
So when it struck at 8:15, like the referee's like it's over.
There.
Like
you're not going to get there.
We didn't really have a whole lot of say in the matter. I was saying, telling them, I think, we need to kick off by 9, and even that, I don't know how safe it is for a kid to be up until 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning and then drive home. So it kind of put us in. It stunk that we got in a bus for 8 hours and drove all the way there and got dressed, and we got to practice turning our stuff in, and we got to practice, pregame, like what you do before you get stretched. So that was, actually, and you laugh at that, and then it is important, and it does, we have to get better at that, and I think we got better this week at that.
And from their perspective, they were stuck in the parking lot on school buses, fully dressed for the game. They were they walk off the bus already dressed, and so they were dealing with a lot of stuff, as well. We had to do the long drive, but I wouldn't want to be on a school bus for however long it was, or an hour and a half, 2 hours, or whatever it was, waiting for the game to start in your full pads. So it was a tough night, and again, I think ultimately at the end, I think that both teams did the right thing to do what they did, and obviously left it with a gentleman's agreement to see what happens down the road, which you can't ask for a better situation from that perspective. So again, 0-0 or no score or whatever you want to put it, was Friday night's game, a potential game that didn't happen. And again, like I said, you talk about the things that you learned for the kids and everything else, but it does bode well for them to have to face adversity.
Yeah.
You present them with adverse situations in summer workouts, and with quick change or whatever you call it.
We talked a lot
So
about
there you
that
go.
before we even headed up there, because the week before it was kind of the same deal. Like, we got presented with a scenario. We had basically no locker room
Right.
before the Tampa Bay Tech game. We had a locker room, but it was, and no lie, it was at least 120 degrees.
And
in
there's
there.
water all over the floors.
No AC.
Yeah, it was kind of rough.
So we had to basically get dressed outside, and I'm not sure that we handled it that well, because we didn't get to come back in after warm-ups, and we didn't do our traditional warm-up. So we talked a lot this week and about things aren't always going to go as planned, and you're going to have to make adjustments, and there's going to be things thrown at you that you have to adjust to, and not let that affect your play, and not let that affect how you prepare to get ready to play a game.
No doubt. With that, now we move forward in the schedule, and we have how many games in a row at home now after this?
I think six or seven.
6 or 7. I think so. So a long stretch now where we'll be at home, still against a formidable schedule. This week coming up, Bishop Verot is on the agenda, and coming up to our place, we went down to see them last year, and I'm sure they're going to present another problem, which we'll talk about here in a little bit. But everything moves forward. But to the fans out there, the Venice Indians, you get to see the friendly confines of Powell Davis Stadium for quite a while now, and you get to enjoy the all new amenities that are present for us. And as we move forward in the year, there's the hope that these rain out or these rain delays are going to become less and less.
Yeah, we haven't had a typical game yet to where we can do.
Yeah.
Because the first game was the same situation. We were delayed and we came out late, and we didn't get to do our normal stretch and our normal routine. So,
and it was funny. So it was actually a question just now before we go to break. I had a question posed to me and said, you have this kind of weather, August and September. We're talking maybe 5 weeks worth of that kind of stuff. Has there ever been a suggestion or anything done regarding to trying to push the season back?
They did this year.
Well, I'm talking to start in October or end of September as opposed to
that'll never happen, because then it starts affecting every sport.
Right.
Starts affecting basketball, and then you have a lot of kids play basketball and football, and then so now they're missing maybe the whole season of basketball.
Right. And then you look at it, and somebody said, well, up north, it's the tail end of the year where you get snow, but you can play in snow. That's the thing. Is it what you'd want to do? You feel like you're running at your full strength? No, but I guess but in our case, we have to make decisions that are that are important to make, and you have to do the right thing by.
Well, the state this year added another week, so there's a 12-week season where you play 10 games. So there's really 2 weeks in there where you can have makeup games.
Yeah.
So that's new for this year.
And I think that's wise, because you're trying to squeeze a district game in on a Monday night after you played a game on a Friday night.
Yeah.
That's a hard proposition.
Well, the last couple of years, the hurricanes have really affected things.
Yeah, and then let's knock on lots of wood so that's not the case again this year. So with that, again, we're here at Bogies, like we are every John Peacock Coaches Show, and I was told that people like when we talk about what we eat. I'm like, all right. I mean, I thought it was just kind of just filling in.
I did something new today with the French dip. Well, I adjusted the order. No onions.
It looked good.
Extra cheddar.
Looked like the right bun too for it. So it looked good.
And when I learned some things about
beef tallow.
What is it?
Beef tallow.
Beef tallow. Yeah.
That's how they make their fries here. They fry them in beef tallow.
I guess they're really healthy fries.
So
beef tallow.
It's supposedly it's the healthier route to take.
Better than vegetable oil or lard.
This is what we were told.
Yeah.
Yes.
What we're
So
told.
we're gonna go with that.
I eat double fries because they're healthy now. Healthy fries. So
you're good to go.
Yeah.
It just makes it a path easier.
Since
to
they're
French
healthy,
fry.
I'll eat double.
And I had meatballs tonight, which I was like, I was sort of in a
that was a weird
exploratory deal here, but it was actually very good. I wouldn't say it's an appetizer, but it was a little bit of a meal. I will tell you this: one of those breadsticks that they give with the salad would have been right on. That would have been the topper. I would have been very happy with that.
I stole a breadstick today off someone's plate.
They do have good
I'm guilty
breadsticks
of
there
that,
too.
yeah.
So whoever likes that, us talking about food, we'll keep doing it for you. And we do actually we do have, because being here a lot, we do explore the menu, because you're not trying to do the same thing over and over again, unless you're Francis. And he sticks to his 2 items.
Someone brought up the ice cream bars to me.
Okay.
You know how I ate the whole box of ice cream bars.
Yeah.
And that the person said they've eaten 2 before. 2 boxes.
Well, there you go.
So
you're nothing.
You must have had a stomach.
You're lightweight with that stuff.
Yeah.
You can get that much dairy in your body, and not and cold
Well,
dairy.
if we play like we did 2 weeks ago, I'll top that.
Knock 2. Go for 3. Yeah, break the record. So with that, we'll take a break here at Bogies. Be back here, and we're going to do a little chatting about what's coming up against Bishop Verot, and a few other things, obviously, that of interest in the high school football area, the 941 area for football. With that, we'll take a break. Be back here right after this.
We'd like to take a minute to acknowledge all of our sponsors that truly make this happen. State College of Florida, Chick-fil-A,
Absolute Aluminum, Jenkins, Lightning Fast Car Wash, Venice Pest Control,
Players, Ryan Brown, Damon Wilson, Trey Burton,
Ships Excavating, AstroTurf, Athletes Perspective Group, X-Tech,
Advanced Asphalt, Sarasota Ford, The Hupp Group,
Bogies of Venice,
and a special thanks to Suncoast Credit Union.
At the Hupp Group at Keller Williams Island Life Real Estate, luxury isn't about price. Luxury is about the experience that we deliver to every client. We are a full-service real estate team offering expert marketing, strategic negotiations, and 5-star communication across every transaction. Our team includes 7 licensed realtors who work together to bring results, experience, and personalized service at every price point. With dedicated in-house marketing, operations, and complementary property styling, we elevate every listing and guide each buyer with precision and care. Over 80% of our business comes from referrals and repeat clients, because at the Hupp Group, every client receives the luxury treatment, no matter the budget. The Hupp Group, strategy, results, luxury.
Hey parents, start your child's savings adventure today with Ernie's Kids Club at Suncoast Credit Union. New members who open a youth savings account get a free 2025 Zoo Tampa Pass, financial literacy activities, and entry into special giveaways. Simply become a member and make an initial deposit of $50 or more to qualify for the Zoo Tampa Pass. Invest in your child's tomorrow while unlocking roaring savings today. Visit suncoast.com/kidsclub or your nearest branch to get started.
Quality education, exceptional value, and endless possibilities. All at State College of Florida. Thinking of starting college or switching careers? Our flexible schedules and student resources will help you get to the finish line. Apply today at scf.edu/letsgo.
Back here at Bogies for the John Peacock Coaches Show, and this is our opportunity to do our sponsor spotlight. Go for it. Give it up.
So
here.
we're gonna sponsor spotlight. We're gonna do the Athletes Perspective Group, which was the sponsor was through Forrest Lamp,
right?
And Forrest basically represents college athletes, pro athletes, but does a lot of work with college athletes for their NIL deals. And to me, if I'm a athlete or I'm a parent of an athlete,
right?
Forrest is such a stand-up person.
He is.
And he's been through it. He was a second-round draft pick, played in the NFL for five or 6 years.
Mm-hmm.
But what a stand-up person you'd want to represent you or your family. And there's a lot of, I always call them sharks. There's sharks in the water trying to get these kids money some way somehow. Typically in the past, it's been through recruiting services.
Sure.
A lot of here, give me $2,000 and I'll get you recruited.
Yeah.
Really, because I've been coaching. This will be year 27, and I've never seen one of the recruiting services benefited a student athlete yet,
Right.
as to date. But they make a heck of a lot more money than I'm making.
Right.
You know what I mean? So,
Well,
and
they sell the dream.
yeah, and then
they're
also
good at it. So
the same thing, like some trainers and some people that you're paying money to, you're their client. They're going to tell you what you want to hear.
right.
Or you're probably going to stop paying them.
Right.
You know what I mean?
So and we've seen it even with trainers or whatever, where a parent will be very, very adamant about that training needing to continue.
Training or recruiting service.
Right. And you're saying, well, no, we're the trainers now.
Right.
We're the coaches.
Right.
And they still think that's gonna benefit them because they're being told what they want to hear.
Exactly.
And it's hard to unravel that because there may, and don't get me wrong, there may be results. It's from let's say from the training side of it, but is it the results that are going to equate to success on the field?
But
That's
Forrest,
a whole different deal.
Forrest is a great person. He actually cares about these guys that he represents. He represents Ryan Brown, Maury Hayes, a couple other players that aren't from Venice, but he generally cares about these young men, and he's not taking. There's people out there taking 10%
it's a lot
as an agent. 10%. And that's crazy.
And again, because they see a number and it's let's go for it, and you 10%.
But
they don't realize what the real numbers would be for that kind of thing.
So Forrest is, he's right at like what a regular agent would take, and he does a great job. And these kids, to be honest with you, they really do need someone to represent them.
If you watched any of the pregame stuff and leading up to this week's big college football weekend, that conversation with NIL money and everything else was a major form of conversation because it's starting to become it's going from the wild west, as they've called it, to morphing into something that's got more controls over it, and that's exactly what they're saying. The right representation, not the wrong representation, is really where you want to go with this because it could be very confusing and convoluted. People don't think about certain things like their taxes that go into it. So there's certain things that people are not aware of. And so being made aware of everything really puts it into the proper perspective, because sometimes the decision might be made from one of these sort of maybe not the best representation, and they're pointing you towards a direction where you maybe didn't want to go to for a school. And next thing you know, you're like, what am I doing here? And what do I have in my pocket? I don't have anything that I was really expecting to have.
So bottom line, if you're an athlete and you're looking to get some representation, or you're an athlete that currently has an NIL deal and you want to get representation, Forrest Lamp, I would stand behind him 100 days in a row. I mean, the guy's a great guy. He's in it for the right reasons, and he truly cares about the people he represents.
He absolutely is. We had a little conversation last year sometime, and he really laid it out and was very enthusiastic about what he was doing. So that's a really good deal. With that, we'll break into a little conversation about this week's opponent for the Venice Indians, Bishop Verot. Saw them last year, very talented football team. It was look, from an entertainment perspective, if you were just a bystander watching that game, maybe one of the more entertaining high school games of the year.
What was it, 50 to 70?
70 to 56 or
70, 56.
or something like that.
Yeah.
Just it was actually like to the point where you're watching the game and we scored and we're like, watch them return a kickoff back, or watch them do this, watch it go 80, and it just kind of happened. And I think honestly, just to kind of talk about last year's game a little bit, that might have been the growing up point for that team last year, for that state championship team last year, because there was some adversity. They were able to do some things with their athletes that was very frustrating to some of our athletes at the time, and I think that they all kind of just said, look, we got to win. We got to figure out how to do this. And sometimes it takes that one little knock on the head, if you want to call it that, to kind of get everybody to realize what it took. And I think that game really was a jumping off point to a state championship.
Yeah, they look very similar to what they did last year. Obviously, their big player maker last year was their quarterback.
Yes.
He's gone. He's at
Wisconsin.
And but they got a young guy, a sophomore, that's really, really good. He's a good football player. So I was shocked. I heard like, oh, they have a sophomore guy playing quarterback,
Sure.
and I was like, oh, all right, so they're not going to be scoring 56 this year on us. But turn on the film, like he's electric. Like he does a lot of good things. Very athletic. They have that big running back,
yes.
number 0 back. I think he's put on like 15, 20 pounds too.
He was a load last year.
He's
so
bigger now.
definitely-
He's
yeah.
bigger now. So, and they got another running back that's pretty good. Very similar to what they had last year. And when you turn on the film, I think they had a lot of kids transfer out, but they look
the same.
almost identical,
Yeah.
like to what they were. And so they had some kids that transferred in and some kids that transferred out. But all in all, they're dynamic on offense with the stuff they do. They do a lot of motions, a lot of formations, a lot of different things on offense to kind of keep you off balanced.
Because last year with the quarterback, he could just
just
keep the ball and he sees something and
Yep.
pick up 10 yards in a flash. His style was a little bit like Cord Sandberg. Am I saying is that
Cord Sandberg?
Yeah, at Manatee.
Yep.
He had that where he could just keep it, and he just would big long body get 10 yards before you could touch him.
That's a pretty hefty statement. We played Cord Sandberg like 6 times, and I think he threw like 2 incomplete passes.
Yeah, but stylistically, I'm not saying that. Maybe not production.
We can't put that in the same. We can't do that. He was good, but he wasn't Cord Sandberg.
Okay, I got you.
Yeah, I mean Cord Sandberg literally was a nightmare. Like he was. I don't know. He was just on a different level in high school. But they're very well coached. Like I said, they do a lot of things to keep you off balance. Defensively, they do a lot of things defensively too to kind of throw you off there. So. Obviously we have our hands full. We got to play much better than we did the last time we were out there. They're well coached on special teams. The kids play hard. I think one thing we got to do is establish our run game and have a fast start. Like we can't have 3 and outs, and then we can't put our defense in bad situations. We just have to be more efficient in what we're doing offensively, and I believe that we're getting there. I mean, we're close, and then Tyree's back this week, so that's going to be a huge boost to our offense.
Yeah.
Tyree is as explosive as they come, and he's our dynamite. Like we want to get the ball in his hands, and we want to get Macho going. We get those 2 guys going, it makes life easy.
No doubt. And again, you're talking about getting a fast start. I got to imagine that the frustration of not playing the game against Northwestern after a loss to Tampa Bay Tech, you're probably going to have a team that's ready to they're going to explode out of that locker room on Friday night.
I hope so, because I was hoping to get that bad taste out of my mouth last Friday, and then all we got is a long bus ride to think about it.
Yeah.
And then you had a bus ride home. But we've had good practices. I can tell you that I know we didn't get to play this past week, but whenever you're preparing for an opponent like Miami Northwestern, you get full attention from your team, and you get a more locked in practice, and because they know hey, if we're not on, we're going to get embarrassed.
Well, everybody can read everything now. You know how good Miami Northwestern is. You know who they've played.
Right.
You know their stars. You know all the different stuff. Same with Bishop Verot. They play a pretty healthy schedule as well as anybody else does down there. And you're going to know the quarterback's name. You're going to know about number 0 guy. So yeah, and they know it. They know what they're facing, and obviously the test is in front of them. And again, having a week where you had to sit and not be able to play when you were prepared to play, I think we'll see a very ready Venice Indian football team.
Yeah, like I said, but it wasn't an entire waste. Because I felt like we got a really good week of practice in, and kids were concentrating and focused on what we're trying to accomplish. So, disappointing you didn't get to put your game plan and your practice out for display, but we'll have an opportunity this week. We had a shortened week. I gave them off Monday, so we just practiced yesterday and Tuesday. So a little shortened week, and hopefully,
Is that something you do? You feel it, or you just think that
no,
is a plan?
It's part of the process, and one thing you don't want to do is let outcomes affect your process.
Yeah.
I mean, outcomes shouldn't affect. I don't want to affect the kids' process, and I don't want to affect. It's not. And so if I'm telling like kids one thing, like, hey, outcomes are not going to affect our process, whether it's negative or positive.
Right.
Whether we win, whether we lose, like we still have to stay in line in what we're trying to accomplish. So in the past, like last year, we didn't practice on Monday, and the year before we didn't practice on Monday of Labor Day because we had 2 hard games right in a row.
Right.
Like, last year we were coming off a overtime win against Miami Northwestern. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
we gave them off Monday. Now, is it a little different than last year because we didn't play? Yeah, but still, that's what we do. Like we try not to wear these kids out, and we try to do our best when November shows up. Like they're fresh, their legs are fresh, they're still hungry, and so that's part of our process. And I wouldn't be a man of my word of I'm asking them to keep trusting everything and keep your process, and I don't.
Well, right, and that's an interesting perspective because you think a lot of people would think, well, hey, if there's a loss or something goes that you got to attack a certain direction, and what you're saying is no, we got to keep going the way we've been telling them to go because that's otherwise we can't be that good down the road. We can't be that team that we expect to be.
We have the formula. We know what works.
Right.
It's we played in 4 state straight championships. Like
Yes.
we know what works. So I'm not going to go against what's worked in the past.
No.
Because we had an outcome that wasn't favorable.
Right.
And I wouldn't want our kids to be any different because we had an outcome that wasn't favorable to us.
In every game too, I mean, prospectively, you look at it, every game is going to have a different I guess temperament to it or tone to it.
Right.
Sometimes you play a game like, wow, we weren't on it or we were really on it. You don't know what team you're going to get.
We
sometimes.
could play a game and win 56-0 and it'd be absolutely horrible.
Right.
You know what I mean? Or we could play a game and it's 56-70.
Right.
And there's a lot of good positives and a lot of good negatives. I mean, there's never the perfect game. I mean, the goal is
not in football.
The goal is to have a perfect game,
right?
Like work towards it. But there's no way. There's too many plays, too many people involved, too many things can go right, too many things can go wrong to have a perfect game.
Do you have one game in mind? Just really kind of just pick your brain a little bit. Where there was the closest to having a perfect game that you were involved as a coach, head coach, assistant coach, anything like that?
Yeah, it was 2021.
Okay.
Second or third round versus Riverview.
Okay.
55-0 at half.
Okay. That was perfect.
No, it was 55-7.
Okay.
They scored, so it wasn't perfect.
Okay. Well,
they scored, yeah.
But close.
Close.
I gotcha. 2000 state championship team at the state championship game.
That was pretty close too.
Yeah.
That was pretty close.
They did score points. What's her face? Dwyer did.
But that wasn't until late, right?
Yes. Yeah. I want to say it was 35-0 at half or something like that, or 42.
No, 42.
Yeah.
42-0.
So it was close.
Yeah, but they were chanting it 0-0, and I was like, it's not 0-0.
No, it's not. Not that week. Not that night.
I don't feel this way when it's 0-0.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt. Let's take a quick break again. We'll come back. We'll talk a little bit about some of the teams in the area that did play, get an opportunity to play on Friday, see how things are going in our counties, and maybe give a little insight into what maybe we think how things are playing out so far. With that, we'll take a break here from Bogies. Be back here with some insight into what's going on in high school football. Be right back.
We'd like to take a minute to acknowledge all of our sponsors that truly make this happen. State College of Florida, Chick-fil-A,
Absolute Aluminum, Jenkins, Lightning Fast Car Wash, Venice Pest Control,
Players, Ryan Brown, Damon Wilson, Trey Burton,
Ships Excavating, AstroTurf, Athletes Perspective Group, X-Tech,
Advanced Asphalt, Sarasota Ford, The Hupp Group,
Bogies of Venice,
and a special thanks to Suncoast Credit Union.
At the Hupp Group at Keller Williams Island Life Real Estate, luxury isn't about price. Luxury is about the experience that we deliver to every client. We are a full-service real estate team offering expert marketing, strategic negotiations, and 5-star communication across every transaction. Our team includes 7 licensed realtors who work together to bring results, experience, and personalized service at every price point. With dedicated in-house marketing, operations, and complimentary property styling, we elevate every listing and guide each buyer with precision and care. Over 80% of our business comes from referrals and repeat clients, because at the Hupp Group, every client receives the luxury treatment, no matter the budget. The Hupp Group: strategy, results, luxury.
Hey parents, start your child's savings adventure today with Ernie's Kids Club at Suncoast Credit Union. New members who open a youth savings account get a free 2025 Zoo Tampa Pass, financial literacy activities, and entry into special giveaways. Simply become a member and make an initial deposit of $50 or more to qualify for the Zoo Tampa Pass. Invest in your child's tomorrow while unlocking roaring savings today. Visit suncoast.com/kidsclub or your nearest branch to get started.
Quality education, exceptional value, and endless possibilities. All at State College of Florida. Thinking of starting college or switching careers? Our flexible schedules and student resources will help you get to the finish line. Apply today at scf.edu/letsgo.
And you're back here at the John Peacock Coaches Show. And Coach, we didn't get a chance to play, but just about everybody else in our area did. We'll start down in Charlotte County.
Whoa. Who would you go with, Manatee or Southeast?
I went with Southeast.
Southeast, okay.
No, I definitely, because, I mean, what I had seen up to that point, now I grant you that Manatee Booker was a pretty tight game. I think that was a weather issue with that night too. There might have been, and then then they played St. John Bosco Prep, whatever they are, and they all played a half, and it was 31-0. So I wasn't quite sure where Manatee was sitting, and Southeast looked good their first 2 nights, the first 2 games, and I think like the game itself, from what I was told. It was they pulled away at the end of the game. Late.
Yeah.
Watching a little bit of things on people's phones while we were down in Miami waiting for a game. Saw some of Southeast players, and they looked the part. Man, they looked like they got some big dudes. And I was like, okay, I think that's the situation. But I was told by a mutual friend of ours, Matt Geller, who has a local newspaper or a like a little flyer kind of thing that he makes. Florida scene that he has, and he had said he thought that Coach Green was going to get it right, and he did. So there was a kind of reestablishing of the pecking order there with Manatee getting themselves a big win, 42-14. I think the final score was right there.
Yeah.
So I guess that's starting to go back down to Charlotte County to start off with. Port Charlotte has just been an offensive juggernaut. Even though
I saw that they were putting up some points. I think it was they did a shutout too, right?
62-0 or 62 or maybe it was one score over North Fort Myers. So they kept they got 62, 63, and 50 against Riverview. So putting up some points down there. Charlotte.
Well, Riverview was that didn't count.
That was Kickoff Classic. But the points were still quite a bit. Charlotte beat Northport 34-0 or 37-0. I'm not sure the score, but so they've established themselves with a victory there as well. Lemon Bay lost to Cape Coral on a Thursday night situation. And one of the things we've been finding out that there's a shortage of game referees down in Lee County. They're having a hard time getting refs for some of the games, and they're playing some games on Thursday nights so they can get the games in because they have a limited amount of referees. So I know I get to say a lot of times as a PA announcer during the playoffs that they go out there and if you want to be involved with high school football or whatever, get in touch with the FHSAA, and
they get paid more than coaches.
There you go. So they're getting a nice little stipend to do what they do, and obviously you need good ones as well. Just to do the right thing. Sarasota County, Sarasota got a win.
Sarasota's 1-1. Riverview won. Riverview beat Riverview.
The Riverviews played.
They might be. You know what they got Palmetto this week, and if they can beat Palmetto, they're going to be undefeated coming into.
There's a couple of games coming up that are going to be really big here very, very soon.
Well, they have Palmetto. Then after that, they'll probably be undefeated coming into our game.
Yeah, I think
if they can beat IMG White.
Yep, and there was a little bit of a slow start, but I think they kind of amped it up. Their quarterback is a young guy that's been pretty good, so I think they're getting there. Booker with a win over Berkeley Prep, which is another decent. They've made some runs at Berkeley Prep for state championships and whatnot. And then Cardinal Mooney played a team from Colorado, which I'm kind of familiar with.
I got to watch that.
Cherry Creek.
I got to watch that game on the way home. Our 8-hour bus drive.
Give me the highlights, whatever you saw there.
Well, I got to see right before half. It looked, Cherry Creek was seemed like they had the game in hand and in control, and then towards the fourth quarter, Mooney made some plays and got right back in it. And it really came down to like the last drive.
Okay.
I think they had the ball. I think I remember them, not converting on fourth down. I think they had the ball and they had been moving the ball pretty well throughout the later part of the second half. So I thought they were going to have a chance to either win it or tie it, and then they didn't convert.
And then, what about Cherry Creek? I know is my son-in-law's team that he coached for, Legend High School, played Cherry Creek in the state championship last year in Colorado.
Yeah.
And they're a perennial power. They're one of those tennis teams that are 8, 9, 10 state championship kind of team.
Yeah.
And it's a pretty nice. I mean, if you're in Colorado, it's probably kind of cool to come to Florida for a game. But I know that I would like to go do the reverse this time of the year. Let's go to Colorado as opposed to going to.
I can tell you what, watching the game, they were in pretty good shape.
Mm-hmm.
Cherry Creek was. They, to me, viewing it, they were in better shape than Mooney.
Okay.
And I said, man, they must be used to that thin air
altitude.
Yeah. So
yeah,
I don't know if that would be fun to go up there.
I would tell you that there's a bit of an adjustment. I wouldn't know from if each person is a little different. You've been in the mountains,
yep.
Obviously. It doesn't affect me very much, but I get seasick, but I don't get altitude sickness. You think I have both, but it's not the case. And I've seen people who get off of an airplane and then immediately they're in distress. The air's too thin, they feel weird, they get a little loopy, and
right.
And so there's something about that. But they handle the lowlands well enough to win to win a football game. Go back to Manatee County again. Palmetto with a win. Lakewood Ranch with a win. Parish Community, they're doing some stuff up there. We really pay attention to them a little bit. They're doing a really nice job with a 40-0 win this past Friday night. So a lot of good things happening up at Manatee County at this point. We'll see how things go. They're about to all start playing each other here in a little bit, so that's a big deal. And one other thing too, the Sarasota Christian, their coach Spen, puts out a little email every week of what the team did and everything else. Big win for them. They just started playing 11-man football last year. They were 8-man football, and they've done really well. They almost beat ODA last year, but this year they're off to a good start, and they beat St. Stephen's, which has always been.
Does Riverview play them?
I don't think they do.
Oh,
yeah, because they're playing in the classification they had for the smaller schools.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, it's kind of fun to watch. He gives you the whole rundown, and it tells you to give some stats out to it. So a nice little thing he sends to some of us here, and we do enjoy that watching them play their game. So it was, and they got a quarterback that's pretty good, pretty can spin a little too. So
that's cool.
Yeah, very cool situation. So, but they're doing well also. So in the area, things are getting good.
Sarasota Christian.
Sarasota Christian, yeah. So they like I said, they play in that the ODAs and the St. Stephen's and the Bradenton Christians and those kind of schools.
Right.
Yeah. So again, but a good fortune for them all, and I hope getting into their state runs when they have an opportunity to do that. Coming up this week, obviously there's a few games here and there, but I think we're probably the spotlight game this week.
Well, like I said, you got Riverview and Palmetto, and then like I said, I think Riverview wins that one. They're undefeated right before our game, probably. In top 5 in the state and probably in the country too.
And watching Port Charlotte, because they'll be coming into town with Venice here very soon as well.
Yeah.
So keep
Port Charlotte, yes, they're going to be undefeated when we play them. So I mean, we got our hands full.
Yeah,
but I don't like to look ahead. I don't even know when we play these people. I just know we play Bishop Verot this week.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. And talking about Riverview, We did mention the fact last week that they're playing everybody in the area. They're playing. They're not trying to avoid anybody.
Yeah,
in the
no,
area.
they got Northport. They are playing Melbourne Central Catholic.
Okay.
Yeah, they got a tough schedule.
Yeah, so they're going to get again. They're playing Palmetto, playing all the different schools
Yeah.
around the area. So good. It's good to see everybody doing well, because one of them do well, because when we play them, we want to
Absolutely.
we
It
want
always
them all
help-
good records.
Yeah, it helps us. It does.
Absolutely.
It helps us in the playoffs.
And that's what I said about this area. As you're seeing sort of this, you mentioned that there was other times where we've been really good too. But right now, I think there's enough really good teams that there's more than a few teams that can make a run.
Right.
In regards to the playoffs this year. So we'll see how that rolls out. With that, we'll take a quick break, come back and talk about some of our former players, where they're at right now,
Yes.
as far as
great
college
weekend
concerned.
for Venice football.
Absolutely.
Great weekend.
So we'll talk about alumni and where the week was for them and where they're all situated these days. With that, we'll take a break. Be back here at Bogies right after this.
We'd like to take a minute to acknowledge all of our sponsors that truly make this happen. State College of Florida, Chick-fil-A,
Absolute Aluminum, Jenkins, Lightning Fast Car Wash, Venice Pest Control,
players Ryan Brown, Damon Wilson, Trey Burton,
Ships Excavating, AstroTurf, Athletes Perspective Group, X-Tech,
Advanced Asphalt, Sarasota Ford, the Hupp Group,
Bogies of Venice.
and a special thanks to Suncoast Credit Union.
At the Hub Group at Keller Williams Island Life Real Estate, luxury isn't about price. Luxury is about the experience that we deliver to every client. We are a full-service real estate team offering expert marketing, strategic negotiations, and 5-star communication across every transaction. Our team includes 7 licensed realtors who work together to bring results, experience, and personalized service at every price point. With dedicated in-house marketing, operations, and complimentary property styling, we elevate every listing and guide each buyer with precision and care. Over 80% of our business comes from referrals and repeat clients, because at the Hub Group, every client receives the luxury treatment, no matter the budget. The Hub Group, strategy, results, luxury.
Hey parents, start your child's savings adventure today with Ernie's Kids Club at Suncoast Credit Union. New members who open a youth savings account get a free 2025 Zoo Tampa Pass, financial literacy activities, and entry into special giveaways. Simply become a member and make an initial deposit of $50 or more to qualify for the Zoo Tampa Pass. Invest in your child's tomorrow while unlocking roaring savings today. Visit suncoast.com/kidsclub or your nearest branch to get started.
Quality education, exceptional value, and endless possibilities. All at State College of Florida. Thinking of starting college or switching careers? Our flexible schedules and student resources will help you get to the finish line. Apply today at scf.edu/letsgo.
Welcome back to the John Peacock Coach Show and here at Bogies. And, I always reference the fact that as the months go by and the weeks go by, it gets a little more crowded in here. So,
This year it started
early.
right away.
Yeah, early. We've seen it. I work around in and around mobile home parks. We've seen
They're
some
coming
folks,
back early.
I don't know if there's like this odd interest in being around during hurricane season, or maybe they think they're going to protect
Let's
certain
see
things.
what it's like.
Or who knows? But I'm like, why are you coming back now?
Yeah,
But
it's not fun.
No, it's like it's stressful.
Just go where you're at and just turn off the electric for a week.
See
and
how much you
turn
like
your
that.
cell phone off and
just sit in a closet with a heater on. Yeah,
see how fun that is. That's the fun of the hurricane, right?
Try to percolate coffee
Yeah.
off a generator.
You can't get any gas. Yeah,
it is funny because
and then ruin half your stuff inside or something. You know what I mean?
No doubt.
Take
no
everything
doubt.
from outside, put it inside, and then
Hopefully, they're down early because they're expecting it not to be a hurricane. They're figuring out.
knock on wood. I haven't heard a whole lot about hurricanes.
Things are going to get a little busy about 10 days from now, but there's nothing really percolating. It'll start percolating in a couple 10 days. So That's when
we need a break.
That's when you hope they just kind of go off into the ocean and do what they do up there.
We need a break.
Yeah,
for sure.
no doubt. So we talked a little bit before we took a break. We're going to talk about some of our players, our alumni that are still playing college football.
Venice had a very, very good weekend for football alumni.
Let's go with statistically some of the highlights. Maybe starting with Ryan Brown.
I say we got 3 guys that had some pretty good statistics. Just to start off, Damon Wilson on Thursday night had 2 sacks.
Yep. Yeah.
Then you had Ryan Brown
at Missouri. So we'll make sure we
Damon Wilson at Missouri.
Yep.
So Missouri beat who they play.
It was a easy team. It was like a directional school. I'm pretty sure 61-6 or something like that. Yeah.
But he had 2 sacks. He looked huge.
They said I didn't see the game, but I was told that he looked like there was nobody in the field who looked like him.
Yeah,
he was the only guy who looked like him.
He looked good. You can tell. You can tell he's been in Venice weight room for sure. And then Ryan Brown, 300 yards passing,
311 yards.
What he had 2 passing touchdowns and a rushing touchdown. And then Omari Hayes,
Tulane.
8 or 9 catches for 90 yards.
Yeah. So
I think the next person on the catch sheet maybe had 2 or 3.
Right. And Tulane is a very good football team.
Yes.
Their coach is a very hot commodity.
Yes.
He's the guy that people are talking about next man up for a big job in the SEC or ACC or one of those places. So Tulane had a good day. Ryan's at Purdue, so he a big win for them getting on right up because they're coming off they got a new coach, Barry Odom,
and we had a lot of other players that there wasn't maybe not the stat line, but had a good weekend. So going back to Thursday, we had Thomas Schrader, who started offensive line for USF, Wes Wolf, who started at tight end for USF, and then to my surprise, Eli Jones got in for a series and played D tackle.
Okay, good.
That's huge for
a freshman
to get in there in the trenches.
And it's funny because he's as he grew, he shot up. He's a tall guy for a defensive tackle, but the last part of his senior he grew all the way around. He got man quick.
So I was that totally threw me. I wasn't expecting to see him play. His first year, I was expecting him to be redshirted. And he still might be redshirted because you get 3 games.
Oh yeah,
as a freshman, like to play in that type game. I mean,
you made an impression really quick.
No doubt. If he's playing in that game, that means that he is very high on their mind. You know what I mean? Getting in a game like that. So they had a huge win.
Boise State.
I
mean, a CFP team last year.
A ranked team. Defense. Their defense looked great.
They controlled the game.
Yeah,
they really did.
And then so we also had Charles Lester at Florida State, who was their nickelback, and a lot of situationals and goal line situation stuff. They had obviously a huge win over
Alabama.
Notre Dame.
Alabama. You got to know that one.
Yeah. That's just a few. Zacarl Lewis had a catch for Tulane.
Tulane also.
So those 2 are both starting. 2 Venice guys starting at wide receiver for Tulane. That's pretty cool.
And they never played with each other at Venice, right? They never crossed paths, but they're kind of the same guy at Venice.
That's when Zacarl said he's going to USF, or not. I mean Tulane, and Amari was transferring to Tulane. I'm like,
nice to meet you.
And I always said like, they're the same player. Like they're like both dogs, and they got a little bit different. Amari's maybe a little quicker, and Zacarl was maybe a little faster, but they're both tough as heck. Love to compete. Both 2 of my favorite guys. Like just because, Amari talks a lot. Probably had a little bit better relationship. I don't think Zacarl talked the whole time he was at Venice.
2-word guy.
But he was a dog, man. He blocked, and we wanted to get him the ball. if he ever caught a punt, like he was taking it to the house.
Oh, he went with a lot of energy. Let's just say. No doubt
so
about that.
that's pretty cool. They're both starting at Tulane.
Then you talk about a little bit Louisville. You have MG, who's playing.
No, MG is not at Louisville. MG's transferred to Montana State or Missouri.
Gotcha.
Missouri State or something like that, but he's starting.
But and Gator is on the roster. From last
Gator.
year's team.
I think he's still out with an ankle, but he's going to play. He would have probably played this week if he wasn't out with an ankle.
Winnie Watkins.
Oh, Winston. He's rotating in with the ones consistently. Had a big catch in the first quarter of their game, and that's huge as a freshman going into Ole Miss and being part of that rotation and having a catch like that. That's pretty awesome. So we had a lot of guys from Venice that did a lot of cool things this past weekend.
Because you can, like I said, you can get in front of a TV set and you can start channeling down. You're like, oh yeah, look who's playing. Because it was funny because we watching the Alabama Florida State game, we saw number 4 get on the field. We're like, okay, there's Lester, and it was an important situation. So it's always cool to see the kids do well.
I think everything was important that game. Right?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
No doubt. And then we mentioned that we didn't see Chuck Brantley on Miami, but he is he played for Miami. But he is.
We'll see him in 2 weeks.
2 weeks, so we're going to keep your eye on him as well. And of course, we got him sprinkled all over the place in different smaller schools that we talked about.
Yeah, Jaden Glasser
at Central Michigan.
Yeah.
And then you had we were talking about this. There was 4 starting quarterbacks at one point in time in
last year. But Hayden graduated.
Right, Hayden Wolf.
Yeah, and then Brooks Bentley's doing awesome. He transferred. I'm not sure. I can't remember where he's at, but he's been having a great career.
Right. And Blazek,
I think Blazek transferred somewhere to her. I'm not sure where he's at either.
Right. Well, there's a lot of guys to keep
It's hard to keep up, man. With we got a lot. We've got over 30 kids in school.
Well, that's what you say.
And then they're moving around.
And you mentioned about Trenton Kintai.
Yeah, Trenton's at Wofford.
Right.
He's doing well. He played. I didn't get a chance to check out the stats and what he did, but he's doing well.
So he said. So there's a lot.
And Elliott Washington.
Right, Penn State.
Yeah. He's a starter at corner. Had a great Saturday. So. Man, it was pretty cool this Saturday to see those guys at one of proud of all of them obviously, but there's you got a couple that are at the highest level in this deal and doing awesome, and that's really cool to see. Like Elliott and Damon and those guys that are at the upper echelon, and the next step if they do well there is the NFL. So that's hard to get to, and that's probably a little premature to talk about it, but
we always talked about where we actually said we were talking about this weekend about Elliott. I mean, Elliott's a big kid to be playing corner. He's always been very, very. I mean, he's not a little guy.
No,
and he could be a special player at whatever level he's at, because he has the top end speed to do what he needs to do.
He's the fastest player on their team.
He's a physical kid, no doubt about it. So anyway, Saturday afternoons. Don't flip past the game until you check who's playing and check a roster and see if there's a Venice player there, because right now these days you're going to see quite a few of them playing in prominent roles in some big games. So definitely keep a track on that. And I know if you went into your office, of some of us, you'll see the pictures. You've got the pictures of where they all sort of have been going.
I haven't
ever
put
since.
up last yeir's pictures yet. I got to get on that.
So, but it's pretty cool to see, because the depth of it when you start going backwards, because like we'd all like to think we have some sort of great memory, but we don't. And sometimes you look and it's like, wow, look at this, at that, remember that, and it goes back a little bit, and it's really cool. And then and hopefully for the most part, whatever they got out of their opportunity to play football at college level led to greater things, which is education and everything else they want to get out of that. So that's the priority throughout all of it. I know there was a thing where they were talking a little bit about leading up to the season about how NIL this, NIL that. We talked about earlier, but now I heard Greg Sankey of the SEC say no. We can't forget about the education side of this.
Yeah, I was always wondering that the kids that they move here, move there, and how are they graduating?
That's a tough because sometimes some schools are on quarters, some
Right.
are on semesters.
You're going to lose
Sometimes-
something every time you go somewhere.
Absolutely. So that's the thing, and you say to yourself, okay, if you're going to be there for 4, it might take you 6 academic years to
That's
go
why
through
I
that.
do like the graduate transfers. I've always thought that makes sense. But man, you're transferring every year to chase a little bit more money. Like you're never going to graduate.
It's hard unless you're committed to going back and doing it.
Yeah.
Because that's you have to go back and do it. Which I think if you let's say you are an NFL guy,
That doesn't matter.
but you still have the opportunity to do it if you want to, either while you're still a pro athlete or afterwards. Just
Well,
a matter
if
of
you're a big time NFL guy, like
yeah. You don't need
cares?
it.
Yeah.
You're fine. You're fine. But you're definitely even if you didn't graduate, you're still alumni. Wherever you played last, you're
cares?
alumni at that point, right?
who cares?
Well, connections. You
Yeah.
always want connections with that stuff. But again, don't hesitate to look. I'm sure. Like I said, you look. Don't have to look too far to find a Venice Indian playing on Saturdays. And again, in this area too, there's a lot of recruiting in this area. There's no doubt about that. We've seen all the big names, like you've said before. You've had just about everybody who run through your office or come through there at some point in time.
Obviously, also there's a lot of reasons why that we get the traffic. Being right off I-75 is one. 2, you got IMG right there. Like
Right.
Everyone's going to IMG, so we're right 5 minutes off the interstate. So that's an easy drive for them.
I never thought that IMG might be a good thing for this area from a recruiting perspective.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, we're here.
Yeah.
Let's go down the
Yeah,
road.
they're here. They're gonna go hit the schools, all around IMG. They're already here.
Yeah.
Why not?
They might be talking to 20 kids at IMG and 2
right,
somewhere, but still, you're not making a special trip.
right. Well, those 2 might be the difference maker.
That's absolutely right.
Yeah.
And how many times have you seen the same sort of backdraft, if you want to call it that, where you have a player that's a solid, Division I football player recruited at the highest level, and somebody gets noticed in practice. Like, who's that kid? Oh, he's our sophomore. Blah 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 blah, and then keep an eye on him. How's that kid going?
Yeah, that happens every year. The recruiters come out. Well, who's that kid?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's our sophomore tight end that wears size 18 shoe.
Yeah. Well, it is funny, and I'm talking about how they recruit kids and what they're looking for. There's a formula to it from a physical perspective too.
Mm-hmm.
They can see a guy. I mean, they've talked about having shorter arms or having longer arms or having or your calves, or if you got a flat back and all of this stuff. And you can probably explain a little bit better.
Yeah.
But what they look for is not necessarily it's production. Obviously, they want to see if somebody's productive, but they can look at somebody and say,
No, they got to.
we can make something out of this.
They got
guy.
to meet their criteria. Height, weight. I mean, their head coach is going to make that up. I mean, they're not going to. Their head coach is given all right, if you're recruiting a guard, he better be 6'4", 290. You come back with a kid that's 6'2 .5", he's going to look at you like, what are you doing?
We don't need this.
Yeah, so there's definitely a criteria they meet. But
what about more before we take a break? What about being a captain? Does that ever do anything for the as far as are they looking for leadership guys, or what are they is there something they would ask a question of you or the player?
Well, I think they look a lot. They question character a lot, and how you are around campus, and just kind of what kind of person you are. I don't think captains. We don't really have captains.
Yeah, you guys are.
What
I'm saying because you rotate.
I know they watch stretch.
Okay.
I know when they're actually recruiting a guy, they love to come watch stretch and how that kid stretches.
That's good.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot to be said about stretching.
Yeah.
I tell everybody about stretch.
Not about flexibility, but just like
what if they're doing it right.
What are they doing?
When nobody's watching
right.
you, what are you doing?
Right.
But it's true because, like I said, talk about the importance of stretching. Before Kobe Bryant passed away, they asked him a question one time. They said, what would 40-year-old Kobe tell 18-year-old Kobe? And he said, I would tell him to stretch more because he didn't stretch enough. Because, some of the injuries, you might look back as injury, an Achilles or whatever else. And that, I'm sure they probably told him when he was in therapy after surgery, like, hey, you needed to stretch more. You didn't do it as much.
Yeah.
So sometimes you don't take it seriously. And you're right. There is something to be said about whether you're doing it the right way.
Yep.
So with that. All right, take our final break. Come back here at Bogies, and we'll wrap things up with the John Peacock Coaching Show right after this.
We like to take a minute to acknowledge all of our sponsors that truly make this happen. State College of Florida, Chick-fil-A,
Absolute Aluminum, Jenkins, Lightning Fast Car Wash, Venice Pest Control,
Players, Ryan Brown, Damon Wilson, Trey Burton,
Ships Excavating, AstroTurf, Athletes Perspective Group, X-Tech,
Advanced Asphalt, Sarasota Ford, the Hupp Group,
Bogies of Venice.
and a special thanks to Suncoast Credit Union.
At the Hub Group at Keller Williams Island Life Real Estate, luxury isn't about price. Luxury is about the experience that we deliver to every client. We are a full-service real estate team offering expert marketing, strategic negotiations, and 5-star communication across every transaction. Our team includes 7 licensed realtors who work together to bring results, experience, and personalized service at every price point. With dedicated in-house marketing, operations, and complementary property styling, we elevate every listing and guide each buyer with precision and care. Over 80% of our business comes from referrals and repeat clients, because at the Hub Group, every client receives the luxury treatment, no matter the budget. The Hub Group, strategy, results, luxury.
Hey parents, start your child's savings adventure today with Ernie's Kids Club at Suncoast Credit Union. New members who open a youth savings account get a free 2025 Zoo Tampa Pass, financial literacy activities, and entry into special giveaways. Simply become a member and make an initial deposit of $50 or more to qualify for the Zoo Tampa Pass. Invest in your child's tomorrow while unlocking roaring savings today. Visit suncoast.com/kidsclub or your nearest branch to get started.
Quality education, exceptional value, and endless possibilities. All at State College of Florida. Thinking of starting college or switching careers? Our flexible schedules and student resources will help you get to the finish line. Apply today at scf.edu/letsgo.
Back here at Bogies and the John Peacock Coach Show. And Coach, quick wrap up for us. Everybody, don't forget, come out Friday night, Powell Davis Stadium. The new field's there. Come check it. If you haven't been there yet, you guys come soon because
the first time was raining, so come out and check it out.
Still
when
got
it's
the
not
new
raining.
car smell on that
Come
place.
get you some Chick-fil-A.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They'll have plenty of Chick-fil-A, right?
They're going to get the line situated where you have to wait in line, but come get you some Chick-fil-A, come watch you some good football, and hopefully we can get on the good side of things this week.
No doubt. If you can't come to the game, the live stream, again, will be on Vibrant Aspect Media's YouTube page. Go ahead and get that looked up, and by all means, watch us there if you need to. But we'd love to have you there, as you know, for any home game. We want a big crowd. Coach, a little bit to talk about. Hopefully, we have some good highlights. We did it without highlights this week. So
we could have did some video of lightning and the buses. That we figured.
I'm not sure if that would have been a highlight. It would have been
Yeah.
more of a sort of a dreary situation.
Yeah.
So again, good luck on Friday night.
Thank you.
With that, thank you guys for watching the John Peacock Coach Show. We'll see you here next week.
What time is it? Game time. 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 Going beast mode when the game begin. I worked all summer to be a champion. At Venice High School, all we do is win. Man,